What secret did you learn about someone after many years of friendship? Not so much a secret but news to me. My roommate and I were in the USMC together, and if you aren't married then you must maintain a barracks room. Most people take that as meaning you have to live in the barracks, but if you show up to field day and keep your room clean you can't technically get in trouble if you decide you don't want to stay there all the time. My buddy was married at the time so he had his own house off base, and after getting tired of the barracks life I started staying at his house more and more, helping out and whatnot. We were definitely friends, always had each other's backs and had similar humor, really growing close, getting into each other's hobbies. Well, one day almost out of the blue his wife leaves him to find herself, which is pretty fucked as they had a child together. So, buddy is now single and back in the barracks almost ready to basically get out of the USMC, so he lets his now ex-wife have custody for a few months back in their home state so he can get his shit together to presumably work out a custody deal. Nothing too notable happens. We have a sending off party for him and he heads back home. I spend another like 6 months to maybe a year still in. I'm pretty shitty when it comes to keeping in touch with people, so I figure he probably feels a little betrayed I didn't reach out a whole lot during that time. I get out and move in with my parents. I saved quite a bit of money not having a car, mostly living in the barracks and eating at the chow hall, so I take a year off, spent time with my family, didn't have any friends really. When my buddy starts reaching out, every few months or so he'd say stuff like there's a really good job here, you wouldn't have to rent a place, you could stay with me, I could stay there rent-free if I looked after his kid. At this point he had him every other week. Another job opportunity, you should just visit so we can hang out or whatever. I finally think to myself, why not? It seems to me he's either lonely or trying to look out for me. So fly out, see his house, and boom, pandemic shuts down airports and shit and I don't have a car. So, basically become a live-in nanny. But it's not so bad, we're having fun and have each other's backs again. One day we get completely shit-wrecked drunk, happens sometimes, but he tells me something that just shocked me. I am the main benefactor of his will. Here I am thinking we're just good friends and dude's like, no, you have the responsibility of making sure that whatever I have is used to help my son live a good life. Damn, that hit me right in the feels. She was homophobic, had a friend for over 20 years. She supported me when I came out at 32, she met my partner and loved her, was a great friend. Then I went back to court to get custody of my children changed and she sent me a 5-paragraph email telling me that I have no right to my children as I'll raise them in my lifestyle and they don't need to be exposed to that. She also said I need to grow up and realize that having someone who is gay as a parent will get them bullied, so I need to find a nice man and put my perverted lifestyle aside for the sake of my kids. It went on, but that's the gist. It was vile, full of name-calling and homophobic dog whistles. I was so heartbroken. This was my best friend of 20 years and she writes me a horrible and disgusting email. Ruined our friendship. Cutting her off was like losing a limb and it took me months to get through it. It's been 14 years and it still hurts. I check on her through Instagram sometimes. Her profile is public, but I have her blocked everywhere else. Not quite the same, but it did make headlines recently. I was friends with this chick for a while. She always had the party spot and knew a lot of people. I went to a party once with my buddy and met this guy John. They were all talking about how his girlfriend, a bigger part of the friend group, had been missing, assumed murdered, and the case hadn't been solved. My little sister got a job at a pizza place working with him around the same time. The chick I was friends with insisted up and down that there's no way the boyfriend, John, could have done it. One of many things I found disappointing enough about her to end the friendship. For years she partied with her friend Caitlin's killer, and defended him. But when I told her my boyfriend was abusing me, and a year later he tried to kill me, she suddenly found the voice to call me an abuser since my boyfriend killed himself. Fucking coward. I've heard around town that she's sorry, but I've yet to hear it from the horse's ugly mouth.